great time to teach you about like the sessions we're doing right now with like the agility and the quickness, like why we're doing what we're doing and what we're really teaching them and why. And like feel free to ask questions and challenge me on stuff, because like truthfully, like I don't know always what it is. Like, I think it's kind of just like kind of the same thing we talked about before, where it's like, hey, like we've just always done it this way. So challenge it if you don't like really understand it, if it's not really making sense. But obviously we haven't done a ton of this up to this point. I was just on Mike's podcast before I came here. We were talking about this a little bit. Like most of the agility and quickness stuff will come from sport. The reason that happens is because like kids play year round, okay? But now like kids haven't been playing a ton as lately, so like in my mind I'm like, hey, like we could probably introduce a little bit of this stuff, only because one, it's very brief, right? So it's a little high intensity, right? Like a crossover run, like when you do it like a reactive like run, like yeah, you're getting a burst, but you're going about 3 feet versus like a sprint 15 yards. But also with that, like you think with like agility, like you don't need to do as much, because like one, it's aggressive and it's hard on your joints, right? Like I was like, dang, like my knees are just like sore from doing those, like just demoing that, like, because I just don't do it a lot, right? But like, what are we doing? We're just teaching them a technique, right? Having them do a crossover or 2 crossovers and then sprint, like that's nothing to them, all right? And also, like, you can't really teach it, in my opinion. And I say that because like we only see them 2 times a week, so like you can't really ingrain a pattern super well in that time, right? So if I'm teaching someone how to cross over or change direction, ultimately like they're gonna figure it out on their own, right? Like in a game, when have you ever thought like I'm going to cut here, plant back and run and catch this ball?
Maybe in a couple of drills that you know.
I'm saying like, but if you're playing baseball, never, especially like ball gets like what if something comes out of nowhere, right? Like the ball gets intercepted and I gotta like turn and go, like dude, like the last thing on your mind, no one will ever think about it. If they are, they suck because they're too slow to even do anything productive. So with this, like you just want to give them a dose in a controlled, comfortable environment in the hopes that maybe they'll revert back to it. But realistically, like you give them enough straight line speed, like they have the engine to do that. It's just like we want to make sure they're variable, right? So they have the ability to move. If you get someone like a me even who's just really like good at front to back, but like you try to get me to do anything like diagonally or side to side, I feel like my ankle's gonna explode or my knee's gonna shoot up. That's what we want to avoid. Right? So we want to give them, and we get a lot of that in our accessory work, right? Like whether it's like step ups, like cross connections, like low back step downs, lunges, stuff like that, where you're having to get out and move. It's all great. Or like even our get up starts, like starting them sideways, like that gives them variability. Starting them on the ground on the stomach, like that all gives them variability. But ultimately, like I just like doing this because one, it's fun, it changes it up for us so we don't get bored. And 2, like these are good skills to develop. With that said, like what do you guys have questions on from yesterday's? Because like we'll be doing all that same stuff today and I'm not coaching it, you are. Both of you guys are.
With the stick, is that going to be kind of like a depth drop, where how they cross and they stick here, that landing, is that kind of like sticking a depth drop?
100%. So think about it like this. Like the best athletes in the world develop stiffness the quickest. Okay, and it's a gradient, like it's like a sliding scale thing. That's like, so I gotta get stiff and then I gotta slide instantly back to be relaxed to get out of it. So like the fastest athletes in the world not only can get stiffest the fastest, but they can also relax the fastest. And what I mean by that is like, think of like a running back, like think of like Adrian Peterson, right? Like jab here, gone. Okay, and it's just he is able to, he's running one way, he pretends to go this way, stops all his weight from going this way and goes this way, and he does it so fast that they're like, I can't do it as fast, he can't match it. That's all you're doing, is like, can you control your body, okay? So when I see kids cross over and like do this, like they have no control, so like they have no stiffness, so we're just teaching them how to develop stiffness. And that's all it is. All right, so like that's what I look for, and then even just like with the setup, right? If I'm seeing somebody here, like, and I'm trying to cross over, like you have somebody tall up here on their back, they're gonna step over because they don't want to fall over, right? All they're doing is compensating. So you just need to put them in a good position to be successful, right? Like I can't like get low, I can't lean over my leg, I can't shift my weight side to side as well one up here because I'm going to want to fall over. Okay, so you get a wide base of support, you keep your toes straight just to kind of make sure you're just nice and comfortable and athletic. All right, and then when I lean, I have something to push off of, right? Because I'm extending off my back foot and just getting across. Okay, and it's also another quality you call disassociation, right? Like what do you think that means? Anybody?
Disassociation with like I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Association would be like comparing something, so would this be the opposite of that?
Yeah, so like your association, I'm familiar with that, right? I know you're my associate. I'm familiar with you. We know each other well. A disassociation is you don't know what's going on. Okay, so disassociation, your upper body from your lower body, right? Because yeah, you're right. So like if I'm here, can I disassociate my hips as I run and get stiff? All right, because if I go like this, all right, you're not really doing anything productive. And if I go like this, I'm not disassociating either. Okay, so it's like, can I get my pelvis to turn forward while my chest stays face fronting, and then create that stiffness? That's all we're looking for. So now, like, you know that, does that make it easier to coach?
Yeah.
Right? Because like that's all like if we do that right, now you know what to fix, right? If someone's like water skiing away, you're like, okay, they need stiffness. If someone can't turn their hips, they're probably too tall, and they're probably not like getting low and wide and athletic, right? Because if they're here, I can't generate enough force with my legs these close together. Like I literally can't push off without like dragging my feet and wasting time. So we're just put them in an efficient position. Like even that's way too close. Yeah, like that's pretty good. Like a good rule of thumb is like you have to be outside the hips, right? If you're here, like this is great for sagittal plane, front to back, but anytime you get a frontal plane, like we gotta get wide.
So the thing like I see it as like you're about to steal a base in baseball. Like you're never like here for that.
Yeah.
Down here.
Or like you're playing defensive basketball, right? A guy wants to run to the hoop, you're gonna like recover to go like try to block, you know? Or like baseball, like we can use it with everything.
So you'd step them through, so you go 1, and then 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then
Why would I do that?
You're cueing it so they go off of you, reaction. Plus it's also step by step, so it's easier to understand.
That more that than the other one. Because it's agility, right? Like we're not training quick. Like we can train it as quickness by just giving them a reactive, but it's like everything is a chunk up, right? If I have someone do, it's just a progression.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because like you saw even like yesterday, group 1, butter. Like they got it. Like I did one each side. I'm like, okay, this is a waste of time. Like they can just go. Like I didn't really see. Like I think I had like 1 or 2 fixes here, 1 or 2 fixes there, and then they got it. And then you could progress even from a single, like 1 or 2 fixes here to a double. That group last night was the majority was struggling. Okay, most like there were obviously a few studs that like they got it and like they just kind of suffered, but like we haven't done it in forever, so like they still got something out of it. Right. Whereas like we couldn't, like you didn't feel comfortable coaching it, so we had to go in one big group. So had that been the case yesterday even, I'd split them up and we're just gonna do that in place. And then I think I said this to Alex, that the only thing I would have changed about yesterday is like we probably should have done some build-up sprints first. So like do all the drills and the stretches, and then it's like, hey, falling start, 8 out of 10, go.
Same thing.
Walk back. Yeah, just
young blood with him coming in late. I was like, man, we're just doing our warm up and he's jumping right into this. Yeah. I definitely felt like there should have been like some sprints or something.
No, he means like after all of like the lateral drills.
Oh.
So like,
yeah,
so like we go from like lateral to like getting stiff to like here to here, and then just going straight sprints with it.
Yeah, like I didn't like because like I said, like that little piece is high intensity. Like they get it, like they gotta go quick, but it's 3 feet, right? So then it's like, hey, do that, and then add a sprint onto it. It's like that's not the smartest thing I've done. I'll just say that. Like that was a mistake on my part. But questions on that? Do you want to go over that at all? I will show you kind of what I had planned, because like the Q days, actually I'm building off of the A day. So I think I have a hip turn with a crossover run. Okay, so what you're gonna do, because I'm not even gonna be here tomorrow. So like if you want to do this, or if you just want to run back A, because most people aren't here for the second day, that's fine. But I would try to get this down if you can. All right, because what you'll do first is we'll take that disassociation thing and make it into a drill. And we could have done this yesterday too, right? Where I'm just like, hey, hip turns. Yeah. Okay, like now you know what to look for in a hip turn, right? I don't want to see this. Why? Because you need to be able to disassociate to run sideways. Okay, so when I'm here, I'm going to get the same exact setup as a crossover, and I'm just disassociating my hips from my lower half. Okay, you do a couple reactive, you can say right, left, that makes it a quickness drill. Okay, that would be a good prep one, and then from that, you can do it from like if you're the coach, and like you get me set up as the athlete, you point one way, I plant, and then just walk back. Boom. All right, and then right. And then you make that a drill, and then you can make it a double where I'm like, left. Same thing, but I'm working on stiffness. And then, what's the drill, all right? If we're like sprinting down here, it's like, all right, left, single, like you say, hey, this is a single, like just turn, cross, sprint. That's it. That's tomorrow. And so like, then that would be a good one, right? All right, hip turns, left, right, all right, everybody, come on, pull the reach, walk it down. Easy.
And that's instead of mock drills again, correct?
Yeah, and then throw in a couple build-up sprints for just like warm, like just like getting them acclimated to like a sprint, and you're good to go.
And then same thing for Saturday, right?
Yes. I don't even know when anybody signed up yet. I think it's blank. So if it's blank, you gotta come.
That means I'm just gonna get in and get a nasty
A filthy pump.
And a nasty.
Let me double check to see if that's all I had on the board.
Speaking of filthy pump,
Oh, band sprints. We definitely gotta go over this. Okay. I'm gonna have Alex sprint because he's the most resilient out of all of us and probably won't get hurt.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
good compliment.
What I look for with this, right? Like we're literally just gonna do a banded sprint. So they will partner up. You can't do this with middle schoolers, obviously. The maturity level's not there. Or if you do, you have to say if you let go of the band, you're done working out for the day. You're gonna go sit in the office with Aaron or Thomas or whoever's in there. Yeah, no one wants to hang out.
Guy sounds like,
Like
a tool there.
you're looking for like you're not looking to stonewall them in anything, right? And like actually Derek just posted a video of this. It's a feedback tool. Why would I put a band around his waist other than the fact that yeah, it's a little bit of resistance. So you do build, it's a strength speed, right? This should build, what do we do on Monday? Low falling, right? So this should be hard, this should take more strength than a low falling. But like the reason we did that is because the duration is longer, right? The low falling, it's hard to start, and that's fine. This kind of drags out. What was that?
Wouldn't the band just expose your weaknesses and like make sure your hips are pulled through?
It allows you to hold an acceleration angle longer.
You can see and correct and coach.
So if like you should be able to stay down, but like here's the thing, like he should feel it, but he should feel like he's sprinting. He shouldn't feel like he's running in place. You want to do a couple of jogs?
I did sprint today, if that helps.
You did?
If you want me to do
You
it.
ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Alex, grab the camera.
Just about to get
Alex, you're the most resilient. Psych! Eric is.
Or cloud. So if he's doing this, like this behind his building,
Bro, watching. I'm praying for you, Eric.
let's go out like a quarter squat, like and just fall into it. Like I literally, like, you gotta go with him. So like I'll give him this a little tightness so he just feels it. You lean in the band. Right, and myself, you never change the distance. So like starting with some tension so they feel like they can just kind of lean, and then as they lean, you'll just see they can hold that 45-degree angle coming out longer, or they're more comfortable falling, right? Because most kids, what do we see when they do a falling start?
Straight up.
Like they don't fall. Yeah. So it's like this gives them some security. It's feedback to keep their hips forward, right? Because like anything we do, right, when we're running, like it's a stack. Right, even when I'm leaning over here and accelerating out, my head should still be in line with my butt. And then my back leg, when I'm towing off, is going to be in line with my body.
So with this, you would want to pair the person that's sprinting and the person that's trailing with the band, like same skill-wise. You don't want
That would be ideal.
so don't let them.
Because like you don't want JT pulling someone who's not fast.
Exactly,
Because they can't keep up.
They'll be dragged.
Like it's not gonna, they're not going to be able to reach top speed. One, it's 10 to 15 yards, and two, it's just like there's resistance, so like it's not going to be as fast. But essentially, what you're just trying to do is just give them like a variable to adapt to, and like you said, fixed techniques, and like or more more so that probably than the variable to adapt to. It's very technical.
Red and green bands only.
Yeah, yeah, because like I said, like you see, like I barely held him. Like I got him tight at the start, and like that's what I do. Let's come back here when you know he could go. But okay.
Well, he wants to do it on. Be
Don't-
fast this time.
Give me a second. Like, go ahead and get set up. And don't go. So like I'm gonna get this set first. Like I want tension. All right. So there's definitely a little elastic pop. Right. It's not just like it's not dragging. I know. But like so I give him something to kind of lean into, and then like he just kind of push hips to the band, drop in a little squat, and then let's go.
Woo! Tapas almost got tossed into the wall.
And like I stayed back too far. I was kind of like wondering why he fell, and then I'm like, oh, she's going. Like I forgot. So like.
So that's gonna be a plyo step, not a fall, correct?
He was just out of a bilateral. Like I would just have, if you want him to fall, go here. Or if you want him here, they just got to fall.
I just feel like if you do it with a fall, there's gotta be communication when they're falling, so that doesn't happen. Where they're like, oh crap.
They should be watching. You could also
No,
do like,
yeah, but like they're not trying to coach their partner, right? I was like thinking like, what? I'm like, sure. I was overanalyzing. It was my fault. Questions on how that looks or how that's supposed to look? I'll post a video or the link to Derek's video in Slack that he just threw up. Just watch that a few times. He's got a good little description on there too.
What's after that one? What's after banded sprints?
Nothing,
Nothing. It's just
right? Because we just do two now, right? Boom, boom, and then the throw that jumps paired in the. Let me double check the sheet. Because we probably should go over that too. Just in case.
Alex, you look huge today. I'll give you that.
He does.
Oh, half kneeling push throw or banded plow. Well, realize like the two is usually everyone's gonna be day two tomorrow. Then you might get one person who's a third day. If you do, it's gonna be like just have them do the half kneeling med ball pass because like unless they can like unless they're super strong and explosive and can do like 50 or 100 push-ups straight, like you're not gonna get much out of a plyo push-up or a band assisted push-up. So. Yeah, like Jackson will do a plyo push-up. And like that's as easy as you put the pegs down at a 10, you strap it a gray band, I'm sure like you know how to, and then you put it right on his sternum and just like let it launch into the universe. Cool. That's all I got for practical stuff. Let's go back to me. Some water real quick.
CG bench close group, okay. Banded plyo push up, yeah, that sounds terrible.
Actually kind of sick.
Step up, cross connect. What is that?
All right, so this whole month, I'm really hoping it exposes some people, right? Because anytime you slow something down, things get ugly real quick.
Talk about the 5 second eccentrics.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal, and like shame on me. This is my fault. Like, I didn't tell you. Like what I've been doing this week with my people is like your first set you hit it for 5, your second set hit it for a 3 second, your third set hit it for a 3 second, just to get a feel for it and just kind of feel tempo. And like realistically, like you get someone in with a middle school group day 1, every squat should be slow and controlled. Like I would even say like 5 seconds just to feel it. But like the whole point of this is like we're hopefully gonna we're gonna clean up a lot of technical issues during this month, and you're just gonna pack on a decent amount of muscle just from the extra time under tension. That's gonna break them down a lot easier. Does that make sense on why that is? Okay.
Muscles are being contracted for a lot longer.
Well, they're being stretched further, and you're ripping the muscle. Yeah, because the traction isn't having to go the way up.
So what is a YTW and a diamond bear? Bear heels on wall.
Okay, yeah, I can show you this right now.
Step
What is
up,
it?
cross.
Vanderplug.
Yeah, that's, I don't care if you answer it. That's fine.
Hello.
Watch this video.
Hey, can you grab my protein bar out there?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this? Am I supposed to flip it around and do a selfie video?
Um,
Wow, this sucker's
Diamond bear
zoomed in.
or bear. Okay, this is done for breaths, and this is like the coaching of this is like crucial. Okay, because this is almost like a reset ab exercise in a way. So I'll show you like this would be what's the first one called on the sheet?
For the YT.
No, we'll skip that one.
Oh, diamond bear and then bear heels on wall.
Is it just those two?
And then bear holds the first one.
Bear hold. This is bear hold. Okay.
I know how to do this from Mike stuff, but yes.
Bear hold's gonna be hands and knees. Okay, and it's not around like this where I'm jacking my head back. All right, I'm gonna look just past my fingertips, and I'm gonna cue people to reach through their armpits or push the floor through the floor. Okay, while keeping your chest in the same spot. All right. Now, if you're doing this with someone and like they're not the strongest, this is fine right here. If they need a little bit, you can just barely float the knees. Okay, that's gonna light it up. But if I'm gonna reach first, I don't want to round my back. I just want to pull my butt pockets to my back to my knees. So it's not around, it's just a slight tuck. Okay. All right. And then once I'm here, I'll just lean forward over my wrist just a touch to kind of make sure I'm just past to kind of feel a little bit more ab. And then it's inhale quiet through the nose for like 2 seconds. And then exhale for 7. Okay. The reason you do it for so long is you don't want to like crunch and get stiff. You want to just kind of let it happen on its own. Okay. So right around 5 or 6 seconds, they're going to feel like abs kick on. It's going to be more deep. It's not going to be so like 6-packy. I don't want them to use those like 6-pack abs. I want them to use the deep stuff underneath. So if you shift forward here, reach, tuck. Now, once they get the ab tension though, that needs to stay, okay? So that's why you take a small breath in. You don't want them to, if you take a gasp of air in, all that just goes away, okay? So it's like once you get it to kind of close down, crunch, and stiffen, you gotta tell them, all right, now when you breathe in, keep it tight, and then when you breathe out, slow, slow, slow. So once I get out, I'll just say, like, once they get the tension, I'm like, all right, now keep your ribs down, inhale into your shoulders. And so, like, you're constantly thinking, trying to get air in the upper back on the inhale, and then pull ribs down to your hips on the exhale.
My name is vacuum.
Huh?
Stomach vacuum.
Essentially, that's kind of what it is. And now a diamond bear would be the same thing. Here's a diamond. These are going to be for, like, your realistically, you do this if you had more of like a narrow frame. Like you would do this, Alex should do this, Eric would do this. I'd probably get more out of something like this just because I have a wider rib cage. And honestly, something like this isn't probably the best for me anyway. But and then the harder variation would be. I would recommend getting like a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or something that they can push their heels into. Because it's hard to kind of get up on your heels and like push the wall away. Like I don't know, or maybe I just have terrible ankles. I don't know. Whenever I do this, I can never feel my heel. But say it's the same thing. Super hard.
Yeah,
like I had Ashley do it, and like she was like jackhammering. Yeah, it's terrible. It's awesome though. That's the so then YTW. Okay. I hate having people do this on the ground because they always do it wrong. Like always. Because like your traditional YTW would be like this. But like you're going to see like people are going to arch their lower back or they're going to over trap it. Mm-hmm. You want like the inside of your shoulder blade between your spine and your shoulder blade. That's what's doing all the work. So what I'll have you do is if you have somebody do this, I would only have them do this if they played like an overhead sport. So like volleyball, hitting, baseball, softball, anything with a lot of throwing. I'll have them get on I just had JB like do this the other day, like get on the box. Alright. Kind of use your head. Or your hand is like a stop. I'll stuff something under here if they're like really, really arched. Otherwise I'll say, hey, just pull your butt pockets down your knees. Let your arm kind of hang off the box. Alright, then I say real slowly, okay, without getting any of this, and while keeping your abs on, you're just gonna lift your thumb up until it's in line with your shoulder. Okay, so it's not like I'm not trying to go as high as I can. I'm using this space between my shoulder blade to get up and reach, and then control back down. All right, and I'll just do 10 apiece, and then I'll do the same thing. I just do Y. I didn't even do a W. I just did YTs. Just a Y for 10, T for 10.
Is this supposed to be up like this, or is this supposed to be down?
Yeah, I'm just looking at you.
Oh, okay.
So.
You're just supposed to be flat.
Yep, you're just laying down, relaxed. It's slow, it's smooth. Same with that. Like you're trying to take tension out of their body. Like you're trying to take the stress, the tone, all that crap, and just like this almost should like down regulate them. They should feel almost like a little just like.
Relax.
But they're still gonna get like if they're gonna get a deep burn, like it shouldn't be like in your delt. It should be in your shoulder blade. All right, so the control's big. Keeping this like stacked is good. And just feeling like, or like another great cue is just feel your spot, like feel your shoulder blade on your, like move on your ribs. It's like both of those are very what you call sensory motor. What do you think that means? Alex, you too.
You
know?
feel how you move. Sensory would be your senses. Motor is like your movement.
That's actually perfect. Yeah. So like it's like find and feel. I think of like that's like the phrase I use. So it's like a kickstand RDL, very sensory motor, where you're just going very slow. You're feeling every stretch. You're feeling every muscle. Like a low box step down. Anything that's like accessory work like should be kind of sensory motor, where like you have to think about like, hey, like if I'm bench pressing and you want to make it sensory motor, it's like, hey, feel your pinky on the way down and then push through the meat of your thumb on the way up, because that's just a natural movement of your arm. Just so getting people to like stop, like not just like turn off. Like Ray would benefit greatly from stuff like that, because all he does is just try to hammer stuff.
Like have a little bit more muscle mind connection there.
Yeah, that's what sensory motor is.
Yeah.
To a T.
Facts. Sweet.
Mind, muscle, bodybuilder Trev.
Not yet.
Hey man, bro science is a thing.
Science is real.
What else? Anything else good on there?
Trevor was asking about the step up cross connect.
Oh yeah. So this is a good one. This is challenging though, okay? Because like they have to be pretty strong. You'd be front facing, and you would go weight in same side hand, just one. Wait, no, opposite. My bad. Okay. If I had one here, you would step up, and then without crunching. So I'd say, hey, keep your chest high on the wall, touch your elbow to your knee. Boom, lights up glute, like Glute City USA, straight up. All right, so and then so it's here, tall. Like I can't even get there without like my glute just getting like pissed, like I'm restricted.
Wait.
Well, it's like I said, this is more of like a feel. Okay, like we're restoring variability. Variability just means like your ability to range of motion move. So like this would be like sagittal plane, and then as soon as I go here, boom, you get that what I call like transverse plane, like frontal plane, bang. So like, yeah, dude, like that's slow motion, that's control, smooth tempo. Because if you do the compound lift right this month, they should be dead. Like it should be a very healthy amount of dead. You need to communicate though, if like these people are like in season, they should not be doing an eccentric. They can't. So then you'd either just keep the sets and reps the same, or like it'll just be like a kind of game time decision. Anything else?
What are the reps on that?
Was it like 6 or 8?
8.
Yeah. I think it's
What's
8 and progresses up.
8 and then 10.
I'm gonna push this. What's that one?
Cossack.
Cossack squat.
Cossack.
See, that's why I didn't say it. Right. Thanks, buddy.
Another feel one for sure. So like you can do this with like a plate, like a 5 or a 10 pound plate, or maybe like a 13 pound kettlebell, but like it's a reach for balance. All right, and it's just a shift side to side. So I'm gonna get down and do it. Like I would start almost like in the bottom of like a lateral lunge. If I had weight, I could sit back. You want to make sure you're like a band.
Here.
Yeah, hold on that. I pull you out of your chair. So like if I'm here, like pretend this is my weight, I'm reaching. I'm gonna get down and start here, kick my back toe up so I can just smoothly slide side to side. But it should look a lot better than the adults do it. So your weight should be on your heels, head should be over your butt, and you're just feeling the inside of your thigh, and then you should also get a lot of hip in there too.
Okay.
Thank
Sweet.
you.
I think the rest, I understand. Day 3 would be.
Be good.
Yeah, it's more, like you said, mind-muscle connection. Than like
That's how most of our accessory work is. It should be, right? Because like it should be higher volume so we can get them a little bit of size, right? Because they all need more muscle. Like truthfully, everyone we work with needs more muscle. But like think about like what do you think of when I say like output in the weight room? What does that mean to you guys?
Output would be
Like,
energy-wise.
Like if I say that this athlete needs more output.
They need to put more energy into the lifts.
Power.
Yes.
Power. Yeah.
Power. Like yeah.
my mind just goes to power output, which
Yeah.
whether that's like when thinking eccentrics, like obviously you're gonna go slow down, but then when you come up, it's like
Yeah, it's called CAT. So CAT is compensatory acceleration training, meaning no matter the weight on the bar, you stand up like it's 800, right? And the reason you do that is you accelerate through the bar. So like you're going for that click, when you hear that click when you're repping out like a light bench, that is the goal. Anytime you train any athlete, unless you're doing a tempo up, tempo down, anytime you do a compound movement, it is violent and ferocious on the way up. Like, and that, because that recruits more muscle. Like that's the only reason you do that. Is like you're getting more motor units to fire. And that's the whole point of what we do. And that's why we pair a light jump or throw afterward as well, because you just use, hopefully if you use heavy enough weight, you just activate a ton of motor units and then you go and you get the last of them by doing something fast.
Right. That's the
Super
dynamic
compensation. Dynamic.
Dynamic method from Westside's book. They
That's
said,
part of that too.
Yeah.
But that's what it's called, a post-activation potentiation when you do a jump or a throw after that. Like I'm doing that right now in my program, but it's called a French contrast because I do 3 right after. So think of it like this. And like I think this was either on Derek's thing or this was
in the book, the Barry Ross book too.
the force velocity curve.
Not that.
So this is like I'm talking about the force velocity curve. I forget.
Nope, not that.
I think it's this way. This could be totally wrong in terms of like the y-axis, x-axis. Because it usually looks like this. So this would be like max deadlift, right? Force is super high,
but it's gonna be moving slow.
super slow, right? And then, wait, no, I got this wrong. I
You
think it's
flip your X and Y.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Because this would be.
There's another here.
Is that Vanderplug?
Yes.
Okay. Pause.
I use my way too sensitive.
So we were talking about motor unit, French contrast. I don't know what we're talking about. Okay, this will circle back around.
Delicious coffee.
Yes. So you have this curve. This is like you memorize this because like this is like every strength coach in the world talks about this all the time. This is your continuum. Eric Cressy does a really good job of talking about this all the time. So like you have velocity and force at an all-time high. Like what activity is that? That's sprinting. So like this is like your curve, right? As velocity decreases, so does force, right? And it's more of like a time thing, right? So like this is like, think of like this force velocity time curve is what's called. As like as time gets on, right? Like it takes more time and more force to generate strength like that. I'm missing something here. Hold on.
Should x-axis just be time and then force?
Because there's a velocity component with both.
are velocity and force on the same axis? And then time
No, because you can have. Well, I guess.
because like I'm thinking.
Time is typically always x.
Yeah.
In physics.
I wish I could help, but I have no clue. So.
What's your major? What's your major?
General stuff.
Oh, dude, I was right.
The first time.
Yes. Okay, so this is literally backwards.
Never listen to Eric.
So, yeah, I knew I was right.
Fucking nerd, dude.
Dad.
Okay.
Dad's always wrong. You could
So
just
yeah,
flip the board upside down.
take time out of it. That's the one that was. That's why I thought you were right, because I thought there was a time piece associated with it, which there is. That's not time.
All right, John Mayer.
It's working against me. You have max strength. You have strength speed. You have speed strength. And you have speed. Okay, so you can only train speed by doing speed. But like if you're looking at other things, like and then if we're going back to a conversation of why we do throws afterwards, or like CAT, compensatory acceleration training, if you look at this here, it's like, and it's really kind of like powers in here. But like max strength, so what I was talking about with French contrast is you do a max strength movement. Then immediately after that, you do a strength speed movement. Okay, so a strength speed movement would be something like a
weighted jump.
Yes. Or actually, you would do like a free jump.
Free jump.
What?
Jump?
Like a squat jump. So say like those sort of squat jump, weighted squat jump, band assisted squat jump. So what are you doing when you do that? So
hitting everything on the curve.
Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing. You're training the whole curve, and this only works when you're advanced, really, because like max strength sometimes is just enough to get somebody to get, like, if you build max strength, this is the foundation of everything else, right? Like if you get a kid stronger, a kid, not like an athlete, just a kid stronger, they will get faster at first, pending correct mechanics. All right, but it's like because like max strength is the foundation of like all their qualities. So if you build max strength, you're going to recruit 70% or whatever, like 80% of muscle fibers. Okay, and then what you do after that, immediately following this, is you take advantage of these by recruiting more, because when they're fatigued, you can't recruit them, so you have to rely on even a faster twitch muscle. So if you do something that's slower and progressively get faster and faster, you're recruiting more muscles, you're developing more explosive power. So that's the whole point of like a French contrast, or like why we throw and jump afterwards, is because we're taking advantage of the activation that the squat gives us or the deadlift, and we're developing more power by doing something that's unlighted, right? So there's two sides of the scale. So like maybe like for us, we do like a max strength and then like a speed strength usually. And then we cover this end of the curve just by sprinting. So we just don't leave them, just kind of leave them alone. But like that's the name of the game, right? Is like getting everything to be explosive, right? That's the difference between sports, body, and like bodybuilding, or even like powerlifting. Like powerlifting, you can take forever to get that bar up, but if it gets up, it counts. Like whereas everything we do in the weight room, that's why I say we never do 1 rep maxes. We never, like, this should never go to failure, because like when did they ever do that on the field? Like you're training the wrong part of the curve.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Right?
So like if kids are like getting up off the ground, 1, like technical breakdown, but that's bad enough. But like 2, it's like, dude, like you will never have that much time to jump, like so what if like I'm grinding out a squat and like I'm a basketball player? Like when am I ever gonna be like
You're gonna
like that? Like what is it? Yeah, like
right.
I'd rather train someone with lighter weight.
team on your back.
Yeah,
That's what
there
he
you
did.
go. Yeah,
So smart, quick.
LeBron James. Like it's not and like that doesn't say like it needs to be heavy, right? Like strength is good, but like I said, like 80% is enough.
Yeah.
And like when we do stuff like this, like there will be times where like people can like move stuff a little slower, but like there's a prerequisite for that. Like you have to be a certain level of strong. But like and like remember whenever we run a program, right? We talked about this with you, like in our meeting, like what's the goal, right? Like the goal is to get kids faster, stronger, and more explosive. So like let's keep that the goal rather than like we don't want more max strength. Yeah. Yeah.
But would you say with this month we're still doing that, but we're putting more of an emphasis on?
So it's always in there. Yeah, like right, because like if I lower
sprinting. we're always doing jumps and throws, so then that's hitting our max strength then, wouldn't that?
No, it's hitting speed. Sprinting is speed.
Oh, okay.
It's the highest velocity you can achieve. Because it's way faster, right?
So the way that we program is pretty much the inverse of the curve.
Got it.
That's what I was gonna do.
Because speed
Can you explain?
builds, yeah, like this is just a graph. Like speed builds all of the qualities.
Can you explain what you said, Alex?
So like the way we program here, it's like we start with speed, and then we'll go into like a speed strength with like at the beginning of our like max. We'll pair that with max strength or like our compound movement. So we're building like we start with speed to build that velocity, and then we go back to do max strength, then build on the speed strength.
Yes. So think about it like this, right? Like that's how our speed system was developed, was based off of this model. So like our first exercise on an SAQ. Okay. Right? We always say the least amount of ground contact, which means true speed, right? The fastest velocity we can achieve. So no, never mind. I'm just gonna keep going with this. Okay? And then we'll tie it back at the end. So like we'll do a speed exercise. The A is usually something, right? Either like sideways, but it's not like a falling start, right? It's slower. So it requires strength. Yeah. So actually, no, sorry. It requires more speed than it does strength. But this second one should always require, like this doesn't require a lot of strength, like any strength really. Like this requires a little bit of strength. And then when we go to what our Q was, or our tier 3, which is now just paired with the lift, that's strength speed. All right, so like you said, we're working back up. Inverse. Beautiful thing.
No. Micro. Good, let's call it a wrap.
You know what sense?
Makes complete sense, yes.
I mean, we've been doing this the whole time, right? And now, like, you kind of understand a little bit
Yeah,
better.
I was just trying to think, like, how we go down, but when Alex said inverse, that makes 100%.
This is a continuum, right? It's like you'll see with West Side, max effort method, dynamic effort method goes in a 3-week pendulum wave where they do strength, speed, or speed strength, and then I don't know. They do I think they do speed strength, or they do speed, strength, speed, and that's all based on velocity. Like there's a time gap. Like it should take X amount of seconds for you to concentrically move the bar. So like if you think of a squat, they always go to a box. As soon as they touch the box, and from the time they touch the box to stand up, it needs to be a certain speed. Because these are broken up into categories. And there's a whole genre of training called velocity-based training, where it's like, okay, the weight of the bar doesn't matter, but the speed does. So like today, we're like max strength is 0.3 seconds or slower. So like that's an eternity in a lift, right? If you're accelerating it at 0.3 meters per second, so every 3 feet, like that's like max effort bench or like max effort squat. Whereas like something like this is just like it takes a second. Like the Olympic lifting is a speed strength sport. It needs to move 1.3 meters per second in order for it to get off the ground. If it does not move that fast, it will never get up, ever. It's the law of physics. It would never happen. So like it's good to a degree of developing power, but like they also need a base of all this stuff as well. But like that's why everyone loves Olympic lifting for power, because it's a speed strength sport and it's explosive in nature. But like I said,
it provides a heavier load than like a med ball throw would be. Like med ball throws and jumps and stuff provide that like more speed strength stuff, but the loading is just different.
No.
Correct.
No. They might be a strength speed. I don't know. I have to go back and look at the book, but I reserve the right to be wrong on anything I say in any of these videos. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip. But I do think that's a good place to stop.
Beep. Thanks for watching.